I'm waiting for him to come back.
Now what do I do?
I will call to order the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Commission special meeting for Thursday, October 10th, 2024 at 6 p.m. This meeting can be viewed on Channel 20. Members of the public may provide public comment during the meeting by calling 805-321-6639, and the phone line is now open. We will start with the flag salute, so everybody please join me. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all. And I will call on Deputy City Clerk Ratana for the roll call, please.
Commissioner Vijo?
Present.
Commissioner De La Rosa?
Present.
Commissioner Scacinoce?
Present.
Vice Chair Shower?
Here.
And Chair D.
Here. Thank you so much. And on to the consent agenda. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the commission on any item listed under the consent agenda? If so, we may pull it for discussion at this time or following all items listed under the regular business portion of the agenda. So I will open public comment. Is there anybody on the line?
No, there's not.
All right, I will close public comment. Commissioners, if you would like to discuss any items on the consent agenda, we can pull the item for discussion.
I have a correction on the previous minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to know what it is?
Yes, go ahead.
So under Commission Communications, where I was talking about Stone Soup, and the fact that it was a zero waste event, it's the Eco Club, ECO, like ecological club, not the Eagle Club, that was doing the recycling.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, can I have a motion for the whole consent agenda
I'll
with
make a
that
motion
correction?
to approve the consent agenda with the correction to the minutes of August 15th, 2024.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll go now to our regular business items. As a reminder, if you would like to call in for public comment on an item, please call in at 805-321-6639. And we will start with the capital improvement projects. CIP Manager, Ms. Wiggin.
Thank you. I'll just, are you doing it or am I controlling? Okay. 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 Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. As discussed, this is the presentation to discuss the recommendations for projects to input into the next preparation of the next CIP or capital improvement program. So just some background, the capital improvement program or the CIP outlines our planned expenditures for major capital projects over a 5-year period. And these projects are typically projects that expend over $50,000. And PRBC provides recommendations to the City Council to consider for entering into the CIP. A background on the timing, earlier this last summer, or I should say in August, there was a general discussion of ideas, and now today in October, per your request, you're going to receive the feasibility and suggested scope and modifications on some of the potential projects. And the intent is for PRBC to select 2 or 3 projects to recommend in the fiscal year 26 to 30 CIP. There's a typo here in the presentation. Then in November, those projects will be considered for funding with the project Public Works and City Manager. And in February, it will be presented to PRBC. And then in March, those recommendations go to Council. Looking at pending projects in the CIP, We have the Ramona Phases 1 and 2. I'm sure you're all familiar with this project, and it is still shown as pending in the CIP because at the time of publishing the CIP, we did not have the funding secured. We have since secured the $3.3 million Community Development Block Grant, $3.3 million, and then the remaining cost will be covered by general fund reserves with the intent that it will be reimbursed through a community fundraising effort. Construction on that project is planned for early next year. Other pending projects, you have the Mentone Basin Park improvements, which includes replacing the aging lights at the courts and then installing adult fitness equipment or workout stations along the perimeter of the park. This is currently planned for fiscal year 26-27, and the cost is about $250,000. Now, when I say planned, for the first 2 years of the CIP are actually funded. The next 3 years, funding is identified, but it's not actually in the budget. So this funding is allocated and identified by council. About half of the cost is for replacing of the lights, and then the other half is for the adult fitness equipment. One thing to point out is that based on discussions from your previous meeting, you may choose to recommend other projects be prioritized ahead of at least the adult fitness equipment option. I would suggest keeping the aging lights in the CIP as planned, as they're on their last leg. Unfunded projects listed in the CIP. So the CIP document has probably about $60 million worth of unfunded projects. So unfunded projects for parks include creating an official dog park at Costa Bella Park. The estimated cost for this is $350,000. This is a lot higher than what was previously presented because after further research, we realized that ADA requirements are necessary, and if you're familiar with Costa Bella, there's a significant grade difference, so that could be quite costly to complete that. But for adding a fence to close off South Oak Park, there's a gap on South Oak Park, and adding a fence to have a vehicle gate and a pedestrian gate, that's about $40,000. Another unfunded project is the T-ball practice field at 16th Street Park. So this would be the installation of a permanent T-ball field, and it's across from the softball field or Ekbom field. It's about $75,000. You would have to consider increased use and parking, possible parking increased needs, and then also the proximity to homes and other ongoing maintenance there. And then some projects that were discussed at the last meeting that I was asked to research was replacing the sand volleyball court at Grover Heights Park and essentially having what I've called a multi-purpose concrete slab. So replacing it with concrete there. Potential uses could include skating, although the code currently doesn't allow it, but that is something to be considered. And the estimated cost there is about $60,000. Another item that was discussed was, it was mentioned that there was some cracking at the handball court. And after looking at it further, the cracks seem somewhat minor. There's no what's called differential settlement or any slabs settling differently and causing a trip hazard. So you could consider sealing those joints with a high quality joint sealant. And this would be more of a maintenance item. The cost here is about $10,000. That is a conservative cost, but one challenge that you have is it is a specialty type of contractor, and for such a small project, it might be challenging to find a contractor that wants to do such a small project like that. And your recommended action is to provide staff direction to advance further consideration as recommended projects to our next CIP. Or you could provide alternative direction. that, there might be questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wiggin. We are going to open it up to public comment first. So if there's anybody in the chamber first that would like to approach.
So I was wondering,
Name.
Talking to the mic and say your name. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm Cassidy Bennett, and I was just wondering about the fitness equipment in the Basin Street Park. I noticed that in the winter we get a lot of rain, and we've been having a lot of rain for the past couple of years, and it floods there, like a lot. It floods pretty high. So I was just wondering if, I'm assuming that it's going to be made out of metal. I was wondering if it would be able to withstand and put up with all of that water in it, or if it wouldn't be affected because it would be on the side.
All right, we'll get to that question in a second. Thank you so much for your comment. Anybody online?
No, there's not.
All right, I will close public comment and let's address Cassidy's question first.
Sure. So you're correct. So that is actually, it's called a stormwater retention basin. So it's meant to capture all of the, a large portion of the stormwater in the city, and it goes in there and it slowly percolates out. So in the winter, it does fill. The planned use for the adult fitness equipment would be along the perimeter. So you have sidewalk on, I believe, 3 sides, and then there's a decomposed granite path along Trouville. So you have a perimeter walkway or pathway up there. So the intent would be for the fitness equipment to be along the perimeter up. It would be up top, adjacent to the sidewalk.
Like kind of behind the pickleball court and behind the basketball court there. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Great question. All right. I closed public comment, right? Did I close? Okay. For a second, I thought I didn't close public comment. Excuse me. Okay. All right. So back to the commission. Do we have any questions? I'll start to my left. For Ms. Wiggin.
I don't.
May I ask you about Costa Bella, since I've been here forever? What was the intent of making that piece of property not a usable piece of property when it was being developed? Because it's not inclusive all the way around. There's an open area. What did the developer tell the city it was to be used for? Or what did the city tell the developer it was to be used for?
That's another basin for stormwater.
Solamente nada más. Oh, that was the only reason?
Yes.
Okay, so now what we need to do is enclose it all the way around, correct?
If it's
That
gonna
could be an option that you decide to do. What I was proposing or suggesting for the $40,000 price was just closing the gap on South Oak Park. I think it's about 120 linear feet of fence. So your fence would be, the gap would be closed up at the top.
And then when the dogs are inside that area, are they on leash or off leash?
Since it's not, well, do you want to?
Yeah, since it's
So,
not actually.
Hi, this is Kristen. Our code requires them to be on leash in public spaces, but also this would not be an official dog park under what was proposed just now, just fencing it off. So it would be just the same rules as any other park in the city.
Is the general public aware of that this is not going to be a dog park?
We would make that clear as we can, but it would not be sanctioned as a dog park.
All right, thank you. What else? When you need a short pour of concrete, don't we have a list of people that can do that for the city? We can't fix an area up at Grover Heights Park because it's technically a short pour of concrete.
We could. We don't necessarily have a list of approved contractors. We have to we're required per our purchasing policy to get
Yes.
3 quotes. So we could certainly do that. Are you referring to the concrete slab or are you referring to the handball court?
No, whatever was brought to our attention that has little cracks in it. So what was stated was it was too small of an area right now to be concerned about. But when we do become concerned about it, it requires a short pour.
Correct. So right now the cracks, the potential fix or the repair at this time is not concrete. The concrete's actually in really good shape. It's just sealing some of those cracks with a joint sealant,
All right.
which is a specialty contractor These joints are, in some cases, about an inch or two thick. You'll see it in large structures, large concrete structures. There's a lot of steps to it. It's a specialty contractor to seal those cracks.
And does that come out in what they call a cement gun? Comes out that way, or is it sprayed on? Is it swept on?
It's similar to like a caulk gun.
A caulking gun. Okay, thank you.
And to follow up on that, I believe in our report, it said that that wouldn't be case for a CIP project, but in fact, just allocating funds to fixing it, correct?
Right.
Okay. Any other questions to my left?
Thank you.
All right, to my right?
Yeah, I have a couple, and I'll go ahead and start with the concrete area behind the tennis court, the handball court, since we were talking about that, and I think I brought that up originally. It wasn't so much the issues folks were bringing up. Tripping wasn't so much related to the smaller cracks that we pointed out or that you found. And yeah, there's something we can do for that. The cracks were mostly as folks are either playing handball or racquetball or warming up tennis behind that, when the ball hits one of those cracks at the last second, it goes somewhere unexpected. And so that's when folks can maybe kind of stretch a knee or do something like that. But mostly it's just really annoying for folks who are trying to use that. And since so many different folks use that spot, I think it would just be great if we could figure something out. One of the bigger issues was actually the drainage, as was pointed out last time, in where the concrete meets the grassy area next to that tree, right, kind of catty corner. There's always a large puddle right there, and so that's one of the biggest complaints folks have about that area is that puddle, because whatever sport I just mentioned, inevitably the ball gets in there. Families, especially with younger children, it's just kind of a big bummer for them. So since it's something that was brought up by the public, I wanted to see what we can do about it.
Sure, and that would be another maintenance item, and I've brought that up too. The thought would be to remove some of that turf or grass there and not irrigate that section. It's so small anyway, and you have that large mature tree that actually doesn't require any sort of
Right.
irrigation. So it would be a little bit of rework on the irrigation, which again would be
Sure, but it's being talked about.
correct.
Awesome. And then the other last little part of that was the amount of leaves that are on the concrete area. I know it sounds very nitpicky, but that's actually probably the bigger tripping hazard are the leaves that are always kind of scattered there. Some people will bring like a broom from home when they know they're going to go play on that. I don't know what a solution could be, if it would be one of the maintenance crews or public works more often goes and kind of sweeps that area, or if we could establish some kind of like checkout broom or something, I don't know. But again, getting the conversation started.
Do you have any questions about any of the CIP projects that were proposed, any of the other ones?
I wanted to have one clarification, and this is for one of the unfunded. This is the Costa Bella. If we were to, is just closing off that section with that estimate of $40,000, was that a possibility?
Yes, that's certainly a possibility.
And-
With the, oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, putting a fence up right now as it was, and if nothing else was done, would that inherently change the use of that piece of land? Like, would we have to call it a park now? Or could we just put up this fence, not really say anything, but leave it unlocked?
That would be the intent. It would be used as it currently is. We'll be honest, it's currently being used as a dog park. But it would still not create an official dog park for the city to operate and maintain.
Gotcha. And then I had one last question. This was on the identified projects not listed on the CIP. Can we talk about that right now?
The, which one, I'm sorry? Oh, identified projects not listed on the CIP. Do you have questions about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The Grover Heights replacement. Oh yeah, so where the sandball court is right now, if we were to pave over that for the 60 grand, I know the skaters and probably some other folks would be really stoked, but you said that as of right now, the code doesn't permit that activity?
I would ask Kristen Erickson to
Yeah,
just verify that. Okay.
That is the case. Our municipal code currently doesn't allow any form of skating at public parks.
Gotcha. What would go into changing that for this specific plot?
That would require an ordinance change, and that would have to be done through the council. If you wanted, there's nothing before the council at this point, and as far as I'm aware, there's nothing planned for discussion on that matter, but certainly through public comment, you could suggest that to the council.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
That was one of my questions, so good job, CJ.
You asked the question about the Costa Bella, so I got a little confused when Anita asked her question, and then you said it wasn't going, it is proposed to be a dog park, right? Off-leash dog park.
No, so
No.
it is currently being used as a dog park. Everyone
Right.
realizes that, but it is not officially a dog
Oh, I know
park.
it's not officially right now. I'm just saying that but the proposal was for it to be an off-leash dog park. Am I correct?
So the commission asked for both options to be analyzed at our last meeting. So there's the more expensive option that requires quite a bit more to make it ADA compliant, and that would be to have an official off-leash dog park. It would also have significant maintenance costs ongoing for that. However, just to put up a fence and not make it an official dog park, but perhaps increase safety measures through the fencing is the other option that was discussed, and that would not be an official dog park.
Okay. If it was an official dog park, I did find out through someone who's active in the Atascadero, God, what's the name of that park? Begins with the H. Hemel Park or what is it? Yeah. They are currently under some kind of county dog park association that I didn't know about, and just by being a member of that, it is what she told me was that it covers liability insurance for the it just is an organization that provides that, and just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
Will they pay for the whole thing?
I don't think it won't pay for the construction. Being a member of it, what I understand, it has liability insurance that helps to cover any, problems that would arise.
All right, any other questions?
No,
Okay.
I'm fine.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this park unlocked? So there's a lock and it's never locked, or it's just never locked and there's no lock?
So currently, it's just open, there's an opening right now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Somebody said that they were wondering why the dogs are running out. Well, if you're supposed to have your dog on a leash, why is your dog running out? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All righty, so, okay, so my questions, I was curious about the sand pit. Would it go to the council? That was answered. Back to the dog park. So currently, right now, where does the law lie as far, if a police officer drives by and sees hundreds, let's be honest, 20s of dogs, there's a lot of dogs out there, he could go by and cite every single person out there. If we have the gate, that he or she can also do this, correct? Is that kind of, I'm looking at you because there's an invisible Kristen over here. So,
Invisible Kristen here indeed. Yeah, that's correct. It would not change our code as far as that, and it would not create a dog park. So the same rules would apply, and both County Animal Services and our local police department could enforce that.
okay. All right, thank you. All right, and then as far as the CIP 1259, the phase 1 and 2, so right now you're looking for us to recommend 2 to 3 projects, is that correct?
The intent of this process, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, but it is for the commission to recommend a couple of projects to be considered in the development of the next CIP. So It's looking at your
Correct.
options and prioritizing those options. So CIP 1259, Ramona is already in the CIP, it's already funded. You do have CIP 1002, I believe is the number, for Mentone Park. And that is the lights.
Yes, okay.
Replacing the lights only at the courts. I want to stress that it's for the courts. And then it's also includes the adult fitness equipment at the perimeter of the park. So, while that is currently identified in the CIP, you could make the recommendation to not fund that project because it is a couple of years out.
Okay, but the CIP 1259, that's already funded, so we can kind of check that off. It would
Yes,
not,
correct.
it would, we shouldn't
It
bring
has
that
been
one.
That
awarded, so
project's
it's already.
happening.
Yes, okay, cool. Okay, perfect. It was at the top, so I just want to make sure.
Okay.
So, all right, those were all my questions. So, it looks like we have a few options. We have Mentone Basin Park lights and stationary equipment. We have Mentone Basin just lights. We have dog park. Or official dog park. We have unofficial dog park with the gate.
Jeez.
We have T-ball, and we have the sand pit turning into the slab. So, does everybody want like a minute to think about what your top choices are, and then we can kind of speak into it? Sound good? Okay. Can we have a minute? Is that okay? Thank you. We just about ready?
I am.
Okay. All right, let's start with Commissioner De La Rosa.
I would say the unofficial, quote, unofficial dog park with just the fencing, and then the lights at Mentone, and the sealant at Grover Heights.
Okay. Commissioner Vehil?
It's hard not to say I want everything. Except for the official city dog park. I'm very much for just putting up a fence for the estimated 40,000. I think the fence, the T-ball, and the sand pit concrete pad would be my priorities, as well as the lights and the equipment, because I know that people were really excited about the equipment, even if it's going to be a couple of years out. I'm hoping that we can further those and also still do a little bit of maintenance on the little concrete area behind the tennis court, even if it's not doing the specialized filling in of the joints, even if it's just kind of reworking that landscaping a little bit to work with the drainage. That would still be amazing if we could do that. But as far as the big priorities, again, that's going to be the lights, the equipment, the Costa Bella fence, T-ball, and sand pit.
Okay. Vice Chair Shower?
So I'm in favor of the, where did I put, yes, permanent T-ball practice field at 16th Street Park, which would include grading and construction of backstop, and the Grover Heights replacement of the sand volleyball court, what are we going to do there? Multi-purpose concrete slab, and that's $60,000 estimated. And is this an estimated cost of, in 2024, 2023?
It's an estimated cost, which I'm fairly confident this cost would be valid for the next few years.
All right, thank you. And then to replace the concrete repairs at the handball court, I'm also in favor of that. And then I had a question about filling the joints with high-quality post sealant. So these funds, it said, would be attached to the next maintenance budget. Is that how we usually do things?
That's correct. That particular item would not warrant a CIP, so we should recommend
We could just
including it
absorb
into
it
your
that way.
budget. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So those are my three.
All right. Commissioner Scacinoci?
I am in favor of putting the Mentone Basin improvements of the stationary equipment and lighting. My family and I used the new pickleball courts, and the light, when it's windy, makes a horrible noise. And, yeah. So that definitely needs something. And then the Grover Heights, both projects at Grover Heights, the slab and the fixing of the handball court.
Okay, is there a third one? Because it looks like that the handball court is going to be absorbed. It's not a CIP project. It'll be absorbed with our maintenance budget.
Then I just have two.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, so my first one, the lights and the stationary equipment, the sand pit at Grover Heights, and then I have a hard time because if you build a fence, they will come, right? So, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So I'm having a hard time with this one. I would say, and sorry, I have another question. I think I asked this at the last meeting, have we spoken with that group that was going to do the T-ball, like there was a T-ball group and they were going to do a lot of the maintenance, and there was a shed and things like that. Did anybody speak with that group? Have they come back up and talked about it or anything?
We have not, and they have not renewed their monetary offer as they did a couple years ago. If this was recommended by your commission and then the council approved it as part of a CIP, at that point, we would ask that the group come and speak if they wanted to contribute to that process once it's before the council.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Erickson. So I'll put my last vote on the fence then. Just because I think it can be, helpful with other things. I'm not sure what, but I'm sure it'll be helpful with other things. Okay. So it looks like we have like the highest voted on things were the lights of the stationary equipment, filling the sand pit, and then the fence. So can I have looks like I'll need a motion to give that to staff.
So the first one was the stationary workout equipment
And the lights.
and the lights. The second one was the sand volleyball court.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the third?
Doing the fence at Costa Bella.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make a motion for these three items to be our consideration. A was install the stationary workout equipment and lights at Mentone Basin Park. B was the sand volleyball court with the multi-purpose concrete slab. And C was the fence around Costa Bella.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
The fence, if we put a fence at Costa Bella, it could be lockable, right? You could be able to put a lock on it if you had to, like it.
Sure.
So that's tricky. It's an open public space right now, so I don't know that we would lock it, no.
Okay.
But if it got filled with water?
I mean, we don't do that now when it fills with water, so probably not, no.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it would be like a Mentone basin type of deal as well.
I would say, Mentone is a basin that gets filled with water, and when it does, they lock it.
We do lock that, yes.
Yeah, it's considered a recreational area, right? It says that on the front sign. And but when it's not supposed to be used, or it would be not a safe thing to use, they lock it.
Yeah, again, there's no precedent for that at this park, so I can't say that we would do that. I don't know.
All right, so Vice Chair Shower did the motion, so can I have a second?
I'll second.
All right,
And just, sorry to interrupt, Chair D, but we do want to, is that the order of priority?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like Vice Chair Shower to redo the motion?
No, that's fine, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure as we present this in our deliberations for CIP.
Perfect. Okay. We had a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Shower,
Yes.
Commissioner Vehil,
Yes.
Commissioner De La Rosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Scacinoce,
Yes.
and Chair D.
Yes. All right. Great work, everybody. Very excited to bring that to council, and thank you, Ms. Wiggin, for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, for our next item, we will go on to the summer concert series changes for 2025 with Community Services Supervisor Larry Kim.
Yeah, today we are discussing our summer concert series for the next year. Just to recap how our concert went last year, we had 11 concerts from June. We're food and craft members this week, and we have nice regionally. And our attendance was average a little over 1,000 attendees for something along this small. We had over 12 concerts that night. Good time for our 22nd year and my first one, and I really missed it. But as everybody is aware of, we are going to be moving into phase 1 and phase 2 of the park. We have Department of setting a plan, community development block plan, and this we have an estimate of early 2025 for this construction to happen. From what I've been told, it's about an 8-month process to get through phases 1 and 2. Phase 1 being the playground area, the picture on the screen. That'll be like the top right portion of that.
Larry, if you could speak into the mic, Kristen can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Maybe is that much
turn
better?
it on?
Okay.
That would help.
Yeah, I apologize. I thought it was on earlier. Yeah, so once again, as you're aware, we are going into phase 1, phase 2 of construction of Ramona Park, beginning in early 2025. We do have, in phase 1, it will be the new playground, and phase 2 will kind of go into the grass area and the amphitheater, and with that, it goes right into our summer season and our concert schedule. And with that, we were being very proactive of thinking about how are we going to change the summer concerts, because it's such a popular and signature event for the city, and it's very important that we try to maintain as much of that as possible. So what we did was we did consider locations in the city, and they were kind of limited due to the size and the scope of the event. So so exploring possible alternate sites that we could do for the concert series, we thought it was best to have it at 16th Street Park for its size, its overall like large lawn area, and the kind of the available parking. So our plan is to move the concert series to that location. With that being said, in order to actually do a concert series with a similar quality, there are some additional needs that we would need, and which are actually additional costs. The biggest thing is it is not a sloping lawn; it is kind of a very flat green space. So we would need an elevated concert stage, similar to the ones that many other cities use, and we'll also need some things like additional trash cans to support all that volume of people. There's also there's a lack of storage on that site. Currently, we use the Ramona Center to store a lot of our setups and and things that we need. So in order to make that happen, it would require additional staff to help, and probably a vehicle large enough to move things and set things up early and put them back. So we're talking about staffing costs on weekend time. Based on kind of exploring costs for the rentals from the local people in the area, and understanding that every year costs go up due to inflation a little bit, it is estimated that our additional need will add an estimated $2,000 to each concert. That's $2,000 per concert, not just aggregate. The stage alone is about half of that cost. So in comparison to our last year, in terms of those weekly costs, it's about a 70% increase per week. So, but we do have a budget that's already allocated for next year's concerts. And with that, we do, this is what we recommended for our next year. The changes would be reducing the number of concerts from 11 to 6. And we would start right after the July 4th weekend, start on July 13th, do 6 consecutive weeks through late August, and it's always the last week in August is always Stone Soup. So we would have the 6 concerts, and Stone Soup would still kind of close our summer concert series. But with that, my focus, by having a smaller concert series, it's just the one thing that we can do is like the allocation for artist fees and stuff. We can actually probably have better events and have a little bit more money for the artists. Means we can probably get some very strong, like I'm hoping for the best lineup that we've ever had because we have fewer concerts. And the size of that venue alone and the way it's laid out, we might be able to get more vendors and just kind of make it more of an event on top of the concert series alone. So these are the recommendations that we made, and we just wanted to keep you updated with the changes that we have. So I don't know if you had any questions, but it was just an update.
Wait, hold on. We have to open up to public comment first. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like that. So before questions, we will open up public comment. Is there anybody in the chambers that would like to ask any questions or any comments? Anybody on the line?
No, there's not.
All right, I will close public comment, and now we can go to questions. So I'll go to my right.
Whereabouts would you put the stand for the band?
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go back a couple slides here, and so you can kind of see, I will have, give me just a second to cue that screen back up. No problem. I have a discussion with Public Works to discuss all of our events for next year, and one of the things that we're going to discuss is possible locations for the stage. I do have a couple ideas in mind, and as soon as we're able to get this up, I will be able to kind of give you a better idea.
Well, there we
Okay.
go.
Well, I can just explain. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get to our side here. So if we look at this park here, the view that you see, the top is actually Mentone, and then you're we're looking at 16th Street on the left side of the screen, 17th Street on the right, to give you an idea. There are a couple options. I was thinking, I'm going to stand up here and people in the public not going to see it, but the possibility would be set up the stage kind of here, kind of in a diagonal, so that you have all this room for seating in both directions in that way. My initial thought was I was thinking right kind of adjacent to the playground, but it's a very short distance there, and then it would kind of affect this whole playground area as well. So I believe that either setting up in this corner or possibly even the opposite direction, the field itself facing that direction. Either way is to get the maximum amount of coverage and people can kind of find their spots. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy the shade of the trees. And having the stage elevated didn't mean that you don't need to have a specific spot to see the concerts themselves. So,
It'd be a nice backdrop if it was on the field. Any other questions, Commissioner De La Rosa?
No, that answered my question.
Commissioner Vehil?
Yeah, we got a couple of questions. So going from 11 concerts to 6 concerts, what would the estimated net difference still be at that point?
Well, I mean, going from, it would, based on what we are budgeted for, it would be almost a zero-sum game. Like, yeah.
Wonderful.
So we're not going to be going over or under. I mean, we could have, consideration, we could have maybe tried to allocate more funds for the concert, but I mean, I would much prefer like doing something really grand when Ramona reopens.
Yeah.
And try to do it that way
But
versus.
also just, I want to cut in, we can't, this commission cannot allocate more funding to the concerts. That would have to be done at the council level and likely through the mid-year budget process.
Cool. I think that's awesome. And then I love your idea of just trying to have the strongest lineup possible since it is smaller. Speaking to that, when do you start inviting bands?
So our normal application process, which we will continue to be doing the same way, we'll be opening things up for applications in November. Applications typically close in the middle of January, and then we have a selection process, and then bands are usually notified and booked before the end of February. Like most of the time, artists are planning for the summer early in the year, and the sooner you get to them, the sooner you can lock them in. So.
Gotcha. Notified as in you're being selected?
Yeah, you're being selected, and then also working with and having them sign an artist agreement to confirm their spot.
Gotcha. And then can you comment on what I know it might be hard to estimate construction projects that far out, but could you give me kind of any estimate on what the physical Park Ramona might look like at July of that year?
It's really hard to say without actually having contracts
Sure.
and procurement and all that stuff.
It's just not something you can
I
bank
know
on.
in the process, the phases, the playground comes first, and then the lawn at phase 2. So whether, and so it's really hard. I mean, Aaron or Public Works would probably be able to give you a better timeline, but even them, until
Yeah, I
we
was just
actually have a
curious.
start date, it's almost impossible to have an answer for that.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
All right, to my left, Vice Chair.
I didn't quite hear the answer to, are we saving money, if we go from 11 concerts to 6?
We are actually not, we will be right on budget based on the additional costs it would take to do each concert, but we will not be saving or losing money. We would be right on budget based on, and this is also based on our estimated sponsorships that we receive every year from the concert.
And are you bringing in some kind of a portable dance floor?
Well, I don't have a plan for a dance floor. I know I would probably explore how level the grass is and kind of work from there. I feel like it's actually a little bit safer location than the way Ramona's currently set up with the creek bed and stuff as well. But having a pretty flat green, especially if we were to set up on the baseball diamond side, going back towards the outfield, that field has to be relatively flat for all those sports that are out there all the time.
And then tell me about the restroom facilities over there.
The restroom facilities,
Yeah.
we would definitely add additional portable restrooms like we did at Ramona. I would probably add actually more because, just because of the size of the restrooms at 16th Street are a little bit smaller. But yeah, and that is also part of the additional cost as well.
And there's adequate parking all around 16th Street Park for 1,000 people?
Well, I mean, in terms of all the options that we've explored, this was the location that had the most amount of parking that would possibly work. I mean, adequate parking for Ramona that would be the same question. So
Yes.
I feel like we do have more parking here than we do
At
at
16th
Ramona.
Street.
And I also think that we do have a lot of residents that can walk to this event too, almost even more so than in Ramona. So I think with that, I think that would help mitigate that issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Scacinochi?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay, so there's no possible way that, let's say, an angel donor came around and gave more money to the concert and said, I want 11 concerts. Is there any possible, even after our decision today, is there any possible way that we go back to 11 or more, whatever that might
Okay,
be.
so one of the issues that, one of the other reasons why we locked it down to 6 weeks is that during the summertime, the field does get used by softball
okay.
and
I see.
baseball
Right.
leagues. And so, the first thing I did was I reached out to those leagues that, and there is a lack of fields in the entire county, as it is, and I reached out and I go, and we talked about what was the earliest possible date that would work. And July 13th seemed like the date that would work for both of us. So that's where we at. I mean, it is possible I can go back if something were like that to happen. But based on the discussions I had with softball, and we're taking over something that they've had established,
Right.
Yeah.
and we'd be affecting a lot of people that way. That this just seemed to make the most sense.
Okay.
And may I ask, these are on Sundays, correct?
These will be on Sundays.
And the
yes.
hours will remain the same,
The
which
hours will
begins
remain the
when?
same, from 3 to 6.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
No, thank you.
All right. Does this one require a motion?
Oh no, this was just an update.
No, there's no action here.
Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much for that. All right, so now we'll move on to item 5, which is the holiday events update and selection of holiday parade theme with Mr. Kim.
All right, we are already getting to the holidays. We're approaching my 1-year anniversary, so which is and one of the first events that I was involved in with our parade. And so I'm just going to give you a brief overview of our 2024 holiday event schedules, and it starts with our Santa's Workshop holiday craft fair that we're trying to bring back this year, and we're going to tie it in with our tree lighting ceremony to attract more people. On December 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. with our tree lighting happening at 5:30, so it can kind of all tie in. This will be at Ramona Garden Park, and we are currently seeking vendors. We've had some people sign up already, but we've already put it out there to let people know that, we are still continuing to seek vendors for the event. Moving on to our holiday parade, we did choose to move it to December 13th at our normal morning time of 10 a.m. And our holiday parade route will remain the same. It'll be on Grand Avenue, starting from Oak Park and going to 9th Street, and people make their way up from 9th Street to Ramona, and then we have our short and sweet award ceremony in there as well. And of course, our annual Holiday of Lights Awards, because this community does a great job of. There are so many awesome houses. I enjoyed driving around and taking pictures of nominations. I would receive nominations via email, but I still needed pictures, and I learned a lot about this town really quick in my first month, just going from district to district, and I wish I knew the streets better because I was going back and forth across town instead of getting all of them close together. So the Holiday of Lights awards is, as a reminder, we will be awarding those awards at the December 19th regular PRBC meeting, and I'll briefly talk about that as well coming up. So, but the main reason we are here today is to select a holiday parade theme. We will be announcing this as soon as this meeting's over next week, and letting people sign up to participate in that parade. So, to give you a little background and history of our past parade themes, so we don't overlap. Last year it was Santa's Workshop. In 2022 we had Toyland. 2021 was kind of a long one. There's no place like Grover Beach for the holidays. It's quite a mouthful. 2020 is no parade, but that's not a theme. We just didn't have a parade. There was a pandemic. We could call it a pandemic parade.
Right.
And then in 2019 was Holiday Sparkle.
Yeah, that's great.
So I came up with some suggested themes for next year. Feel free to select any of these, or if you guys are feeling inspired, feel free to recommend some as well, and pick a theme that you think will be most appropriate for our community. The themes that I recommend for 2024, especially in this time of year, would be Peace and Joy. I have Groovy Grover Holidays. I have A Grand Affair, a little play on words. Yeah, I know, it's corny. And finally,
good.
Merry and Bright. So those are a couple choices right there. We will get to discussing that as well. I'm just going to finish the presentation real quick. So for Holiday of Lights Awards, just As a reminder, like we submit our nominations by December 13th. It's literally a week before the awards ceremony, before the meeting on the 19th. We are requesting our commissioners submit at least one nomination in each category, which you'll see in the next slide, and if possible, one nomination from each district as well. So you don't need one nomination from each district in each category. You just need at least.
Well, if you want to be an overachiever, you
Yeah,
can
if
do
you
that.
want to be,
Yes.
feel free. Just help me out with the slideshow. Yeah, when the time comes. And then we were just once again select the award winners on December 19th. Just to remind you of our categories, we had for residential awards, we had best overall residential display, best use of animation and/or craftsmanship, and of course, the Honorable Clark Griswold Award for extraordinary use of lights. And then in business awards, we had best overall business display and best use of light for a business display. It is a very tight window because people don't put up their lights until late November-ish. So as soon as you start seeing lights, if you can just, jot it down and get them to me, the sooner the better. And try to get it to me by December 13th. And we will also be taking nominations from the public as well. So finally, we can go back. Also, in conclusion, we are hoping to receive a recommendation for a holiday theme for the 2024 Grover Beach Holiday Parade. Would you like me to go back to the slide of the recommendations?
Yeah, and then I'll open up public
And we
comment.
can go from there. Thank you.
All right, I will open up public comment. Is there anybody in the chambers that would like to make a comment or question or make a recommendation for, go ahead and state your name.
My name is Kennedy Bennett, and I wanted to make a recommendation, maybe like Candyland?
What did you say?
Candyland.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, is there anybody on the line?
No, there's not.
All right, I will close public comment and we will discuss between commissioners. And I'll start to my left this time. Ms. Kachinochi?
And we're doing our recommendation.
Yeah, like whatever, whichever one you're fancying, or if you have any recommendations
I
of your
have
own.
two that I've been thinking about. And one is Grinchmas. And the other is Winter Wonderland.
You okay there, Mr. Vihel? Yeah? He loved it.
I had coffee in my mouth.
All right, perfect, okay. Vice Chair Shower?
Thank you. Merry and bright and holiday lights.
Ooh.
Is that just one category, or is that two?
Merry and bright and holiday lights.
I love it.
That's the same, yeah, I like that.
So
Okay,
that's one, right?
yeah,
It's just one theme.
yeah,
One thing.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's fun.
All right, and to my right, Mr. Vihel?
Oh gosh, I do love Groovy Grover.
I do, I like that too.
I mean, we are Groovy and we are Grover. And it's the holidays. I really like what was just said, the Merry and Bright and Holiday Light.
That's cute,
See,
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That is fun. Grinchmas though, it's pretty hard to beat Grinchmas.
You have to pick one.
I'm gonna go with Grinchmas.
Okay.
For me, it's between Groovy Grover and Merry and Bright and Holiday Lights, those two. So do I have to pick this one?
Yes. This is the hardest decision we're having to make all night long.
Think. Well, I guess I'll vote for, it doesn't really matter, I guess, but Groovy Grover, just because it's Grover.
Oh, you guys. I
It's on
can't do
you.
this. Okay.
Pressure's on you.
I know. I really love the Merry and Bright and Holiday Lights. I think that's really, really sweet and catchy.
It
But
is.
I feel like we would get so much fun participation with Groovy Grover because that's the theme, right? Like it can be very like 70s, very groovy. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to sway my vote over to Groovy Grover holidays. So it looked like we kind of had 2, 2, and 1. Is that right?
Who are the two?
So we said Groovy Grover, you two said Grinchmas, and you said Marion Bright and Holiday Lights.
Correct.
All right. So let's just decide between Groovy Grover and Grinchmas. How about that? Okay, so what's our votes? Mr. Vihil?
Grinchmas.
Okay.
I'm Groovy Grover.
Groovy Grover, okay,
Groovy Grover.
okay.
I'm gonna stick with Grinchmas.
All right, I'm gonna do Groovy Grover. So I think we decided on Groovy Grover.
outnumbered.
Sorry, I love democracy. Okay, so it looks like, do we have to have a motion for this one, or is it just a recommendation?
I don't think a motion's necessary. I think that.
But I hope that you wrote down Grinchmas for next year.
Yeah, we will
Okay.
definitely put that on your
right.
list of themes. for next year, yeah.
Sounds wonderful. All right. Was that it for item 5?
That's great.
Perfect. Okay, now on to commission communications. So I will start to my left, Vice Chair Shower. Do you have any communications?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gacinochi?
I do not.
Mr. Vihil?
I don't. I saw, are we still having staff communications about the conference?
Oh.
I believe after,
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
What's
registration, pre-registration closes here in the next month, so if there was any commissioners interested in attending this year, we wanted to try to gauge that.
Gotcha, but that's not something we would talk about right now.
we can do it during staff.
Okay, got it. Then nothing right now.
Okay. Ms. De La Rosa?
I don't have anything.
All right, I don't have anything either, so we'll go back to Supervisor Kim for staff communications.
All right, right. Once again, I thank everyone for being here. I just want to make a quick announcement of our next event, which is our Trunk or Treat event. And every year it's been in partnership with the Grover Beach Rotary, at least every year that I'm aware of. It'll be happening on the Friday before, on Halloween, on October 25th, starting at 5 p.m. I feel like we're having some strong participation already, and we've gotten a lot of interest. PD is trying to up their game this year from their crazy kind of space thing, so we're looking forward to seeing what they have next. And Rotary once again will be supplying hot dogs, and I'm just totally excited. It was the first community event that I saw after I got my offer to be here, and I kind of showed up just to see what it was about, and it really kind of reminded me of why I wanted to work here, and to see how like all these other agencies and organizations working together. So I certainly hope that everyone will attend and be out there and support the kiddos and dress in your favorite theme for the year. And in addition, the other thing that actually is listed is about, the conference. And I don't know if anybody is interested in trying to attend this year. This year it is in Sacramento at the Sacramento Convention Center on March 18th to March 21st. CPRS headquarters is in Sacramento, so it tends to go to Sacramento pretty frequently. So, but if everyone is attended, do they need to speak now, or they can just talk to you after, or?
They can talk to me after.
Okay, yeah.
Or you can talk about it now.
So the answer is yes and yes. So if it suits your fancy, let us know, and we can attend together.
Perfect. Was that it? All right, so for our last public communications, if you'd like to provide public comment, please step forward, or you may call in at 805-321-6639. Any other public comment? No?
No one's on the line.
All right, I'll close public comment. And with no further business before the commission, I will adjourn this meeting at 7:03 p.m. And our next scheduled meeting will be on December 19th, 3024 at 6 p.m. That's a really long time from now. How about let's meet instead? How about this, guys? Let's meet December 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And
that
I'll
is when our
adjourn
next
this
meeting
meeting. Yes, December 19th. So I'll adjourn this meeting.
Wait, it's still, the lights are still on.
The girls will be here.
Are the cameras still on?
One time it was still on, and it just caught me saying, is the microphone still on?
Do you have another card?
I do.
The dog's not with
I
me.
put them in all my pockets.
Let me see.
So I just have them in whatever pocket I.
Audio recording is on. Dual channel.
It's on. I really hope it was recording the whole time.
Oh, they'll just see,
Is now
they'll
exiting.
just see silly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, it's on.
Yeah.